Hi, I'm Christy Blanche, and welcome to the first module of our class on social issues in comic books. This will hopefully be an exciting time where we can learn, have fun, and create community. This first module is an introduction to addiction. We will attempt to define it and discuss different types of addictions and why it is thought by some to be an individual problem and not a social issue. I know many of you are anxious to get to the comic book discussions, but we have to build our foundation first. Learning about this is important because in order to see addiction in popular culture, we have to understand a bit about it. The comic books we're reading this week are Buzzkill, either 1 through 4, or The Trade, which comes out April 2nd, Batman Venom, or The Dark Knight 16 through 20, Volume 2 of Green Lantern 85 and 86, and Sex Criminals number 1. Now, while you are reading these, and this may be difficult because the stories are so good and it's really easy to get lost in them, but pay attention to how addiction is addressed. I know that these aren't the only books that deal with addiction, but just like your teachers choose certain books over others, I have to do the same, and it wasn't easy. These books deal with established superheroes and non-superheroes. Now, when reading the comics, think not only about the representation of addiction, but try and think about the time period in which the comic was written. Context is everything. Make sure also, please, to use the discussion boards to talk about your thoughts and opinions. We have 2 live interviews scheduled for this module. On March 19th, we will have the pleasure of talking to legendary Denny O'Neil. Denny has been in the comic book industry since the 60s and has written 2 of the selections for this module, Batman Venom and Green Lantern. He has written tons of comics, novels, novellas, and is one of my favorite authors. He also wrote the DC Comics Guide to Writing Comics, and he was named one of the 50 who made DC great. On April 7th, we welcome Donnie Cates, writer of Buzzkill, to our live interview. Donnie is a relative newcomer to the industry, but there's a lot of buzz, get it, about him. He's a writer to watch. It will be interesting to see not only why these authors took on the topics they did, but also it's important to know the background of the author regarding these issues and how that may have affected their work. Also, realizing what the intended meaning of some storylines or scenes can be is really enlightening. There are always intended meanings and interpreted meanings, and there are also underlying attitudes and messages. It can be really informative and important to understand why we interpreted something differently than what it was meant to. So in the meantime, enjoy the module, enjoy the discussions, and please join me and my co-host Jason Pierce for our live interviews. Denny O'Neil will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 19th, and Donnie Cates will be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on April 7th. Don't forget to submit your questions for them, either on the Google Plus site or via Twitter the day of the interview. That's all for now. Have fun in Module 1, and I'll see you on the discussion boards.